G'day guys, welcome back to Statchat Sports. You're here with me, Josh. We've got BT and Tazza on the line. Fellas, it's our weekly footy segment. Really interesting round of footy. Before we start, a little bit of housekeeping. A bit of a milestone on the channel. Time to turn up, fellas. Time to turn up. Raise the bat. Made the 100 subs. Thanks to everyone that has subbed to the channel. It's not a huge number, but it's a big number to us, and we appreciate all of yous.
Yeah, I mean, we're just here for a good chat, just trying to have some fun, and we just want people to come along for the ride. And if they like what they're hearing, then we urge people to subscribe and follow our content.
All right, let's get into it. We're going to start with our main segment. This one's called Hits, Misses, and Hold Fire. So we'll go through 3 teams or players from the weekend that we think they were a hit, we think they were a big miss, or we think we need to wait a week or two to reserve a bit more judgment on them. Steve usually does the hit. He's not with us. He's in health and safety protocols this weekend, so I'll cover for him. The hit this week, in my opinion, BT, is Richmond. I loved Richmond's game on Sunday afternoon. They put in a really good performance against your premiership prediction in the Giants.
Wow, I didn't expect you to say that. They did play very well. GWS looked terrible. They played terrible at the MCG anyway, but they looked bad. They did look bad.
It was a flashback to the 2019 grand final, Tazza. The fact that they did it without so many of their stars as well. I mean, there were some big names not there for the Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, they're still missing Boston. He's Prestia's really missing him. GWS, it's just that glaring lack of a cohesive forward line for me. That was the one thing that I thought GWS didn't have to get them over the line this year. And I never really understood why Brody had them so high. And that was why. But Richmond, yeah, fair play. Richmond were very good on the weekend and fully deserved the points there.
Yeah, a good forward line setup as well without Rewalt. So Bolter was sort of the surprise name in the pre-season that was spending some time forward. Really impressive showing from him. And Jaden Short redeemed himself. He wasn't very good in round 1. If you've got him in your fantasy team, you would have been happy with him because he was just racking the ball up. 33 posies, 29 of them kicks, and he almost had 800 metres gained, BT. I mean, he was phenomenal.
Yeah, back to his best, he was. But back on Bolter, he was actually one of the best on ground. I didn't realise how the speed he has when Phil Davis was chasing him. Davis did his hammy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Tough. It was tough for Davis.
Yeah. But and he's got that massive kick. He kicked one from 55 on the angle as well. And he actually looked very good up forward. On GWS, exactly what Taz has said. That forward line, whenever they were going forward, they could not hit a target. The forwards would run into each other. 3 forwards in the forward line, they would all just lead to the exact same area. They're missing Toby Green up there. They need him back badly.
It's a really good shout, that. So, yeah, obviously not a good performance from the Giants, but I think Richmond's win yesterday was a bit underrated for mine.
One last thing, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
On Richmond, just shout out to Dusty because the news today that he's going through some mental health issues and there's talk of him may not returning. So hopefully he can get back to the game. We love watching him play and all the best to him. So, Taylor, we don't want to preempt anything here, but if he retires today, where do you think he sits in terms of players sort of from 2000 onwards?
I mean, it's hard to put into numbers and hard to stack up.
If you're just talking mids, right? If you're talking mids, he's right up there. Where do you have him with Ablett, Judd, Martin? I mean, they're probably the 3, right? Am I missing anyone there?
No. Given the ultimate success that he's had, I think he's number 1. I mean, all of those 3 have done unbelievable things on the field, but he comes with team success. He comes with individual success that the other 3 haven't quite tasted to that degree. I'm going to say he's number 1.
I think his peak as well, that 2017 year where he literally took away every single award that you could possibly win, that is probably one of the best individual seasons that we will see for a very long time.
Big thing with him is the influence he has in the big games. Just steps up. He can have quiet games throughout the season. He's always done that. As soon as he hits a big, important moment, important game, he just steps up and he's everywhere.
So, speaking of not stepping up to the plate, BT, you're a man that doesn't miss with his criticism. You like to hit him hard and square between the eyes. And I have a feeling I know exactly where this miss is going today.
I think it's pretty obvious. The shitty-ass Port Adelaide.
Oh, no.
This is how bad they are. They're the same record as the Eagles.
Oh, no. That's tough. Tazza, as our resident Port Adelaide man, thoughts, queries, concerns from your end?
Oh, concerns. You'll keep me here for 15 minutes if you want to keep going. There are so many things wrong with that team. And I think it starts from the top down. I think the coach got to go. You've got to be able to cover. I mean, one man, Aliria, shouldn't leave that big a hole in the team.
Who are they missing from their lineup? I mean, it's just Aaliyah and
Dixon, Gray, Fantasia. But that was disgusting. I'll let BT go, but yeah, disgusting.
If you didn't watch the game, didn't look at the score and look purely at stats, because we love our stats here, you would think Port Adelaide won that game by 10 goals. They dominated every single stat. But the one stat, that was the big difference, the counter-attack from Hawthorn. Defensive 50 to score, 9 goals, 1. That is huge.
I heard the stat. You might have it, BT, but I think it was the worst defensive 50 transition game from a team in the last 10 years.
Exactly, you're spot on. In comparison to Port Adelaide, they had 2 behinds. You normally average maybe 2 goals, maybe 3. If you get 4, then you're having a good game. But 9 goals, 1. As soon as they got it out of defence, the game was fully open. Port Adelaide did not want to spread. Their work rate was terrible. That's where it came down to. And there was no organisation down back where obviously no Leah.
The forward 50 entries were just atrocious.
Yeah.
There was no plan B. There was no lowering of the eyes. It was just hope and pray that someone goes and plucks it out of the air. Georgiades had to present too far up the field to leave an option down in the forward line. And Finlayson and Marshall were soft as butter all night. Marshall shouldn't even be on an AFL list.
I think he was our man under the pump as well in our season preview video. If you haven't seen that, make sure you check it out. Also, a special shout out to one of our regular listeners and contributors, R. Dizzle, who had this to say about your team, Port Adelaide. He said, bring the tarps out. Bring the tarps back because it's a sorry state of affairs at Port Adelaide.
Yeah, I was pretty triggered by that. I'm not going to lie.
It's not a bad
I was going through a rough time. I was going through a rough time during that game, and that did not help.
All right, let's change tack a little bit. We're looking now for a team that we're just going to hold fire on for a week or two. Someone that we need to see a little bit more of before we know whether they're going up or going down this year, Tazza.
Look, I've got the Eagles for hold fire. Obviously, COVID's ravaged the team. They put up a good fight. The Roos weren't at their best, and their best isn't anywhere near the best in the competition. But we're talking about a team that had 4 blokes that hadn't even trained with the rest of the group.
Let me give you some names here, Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Black, Stephen Gyro, Angus Dewar, Braden Ainsworth, and Declan Mountford. 5 blokes that literally walked off the street, pulled on the blue and gold, put in one of the great efforts you'll ever see. This was almost a highway robbery. It's the best I've felt as an Eagle supporter after a loss, BT. I don't know about you, but...
And this was with Jack Darling doing absolutely nothing. He was terrible. He was probably the worst on the park. Next week, with the Derby coming up, we'll be getting all these players back. It should be a good game, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see which names come back and how they go, because if they put in the sort of effort they put in, I don't care who's in the team, there'll be a good chance of rolling Freo, who, in all honesty, they were very lucky to avoid your miss this weekend, BT, because they were terrible. They were absolutely shocking against the Saints, who weren't much better themselves, by the way. So, yeah, I think the Western Derby next weekend will be a very interesting match indeed.
I'll touch on that, touch on St Kilda, since I'm pretty harsh on them.
Yes. For those of you that haven't tuned in before, BT is not a St Kilda fan. Just does not like the way that the team is run, does not like the organisation whatsoever. You're running a bit of a tally on them, aren't you? You're against the Saints.
Yeah, I'll give it to them. It's 1-1. All because of big Max King. That's the only reason he took over that game in that third quarter. If it wasn't for him, then they probably would have lost that game. But that was a terrible game from both teams. That was just terrible.
That's your classic Sunday afternoon twilight game right there. Just sort of switch off and just sort of enjoy the rest of the Sunday. I think there was not much redeeming about that game for both teams. Game day overreactions. When you're in the heat of the game and you're watching it and you're passionate, you're prone to making a couple of silly calls here and there. First one from you, BT, and this was a very strange call. I'm not going to lie. We were watching on Friday night, of course, classic game, big moment. Buddy Franklin kicks the 1,000 goals. Everybody runs on the ground, and we kind of asked amongst ourselves, do you think that this will ever happen again? Someone kicking 1,000 goals? And BT's response was, the only man that could possibly do it is Joe Danaher.
Shit, I forgot I said that.
Tazza, come on.
Oh no, I don't know where you're going with that, but you've got this bromance going on with Smoke and Joe, and I don't see where it's come from.
Best forward in the comp.
Explain yourself.
He's easily
best forward in the comp.
Best forward in the comp.
Max King is a superstar. He just won a game for the Saints.
Yeah, but it was
what about the Souvlaki? He kicked 6.
I think that was against the Waffle team.
Yeah, he's kind of got you there, Josh.
He does. He does. Joe, Smoke and Joe for 1,000 goals.
There's no chance.
What were you drinking?
I did have a few. Don't get me wrong, I love the guy. But that was an overreaction. I'll admit that one. He's not even going to get close to 1,000 goals. But no one's ever going to get close to 1,000 goals again. We won't say it again.
Yeah. Next overreaction. This one was from me, actually. I was watching the Brisbane Essendon game where Lachie Neale absolutely tore it up. He just took over this game. And the call that I made was that the trade period where Fremantle gave Lachie the boot, it was the worst trade period that Fremantle has ever had, which is saying something because they've had some terrible trade. I mean, we're talking the Crode-Hodge trade. You know, we're talking in getting in McPhee and Scotty Gumbleton, and you know, there's been some terrible trades over the years for Freo, but I think this one, it just takes the cake because they got nothing back at all.
I agree with you. The only thing I can disagree with that is it the game style difference? Did that help Lachie Neale? Brisbane are a lot more attacking.
Lachie Neale was a good gun.
Player.
Yeah, he was a gun before he left, but he's their number one.
Yeah.
You know, Fife was Freo's number one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But with Brisbane, they're such an attacking team, especially the midfielders. They love to run forward, where at Fremantle, other than Fife, it was more they're a very defensive type team, if you know what I mean. So obviously, yeah, I agree. It's the worst decision Fremantle have made and probably one of the better trades Brisbane have brought in.
And can I just throw this out here as well, just so you've got a bit of context on who they brought in exchange. Realistically, they gave up Neale and their pick 6. They got back in return a late round first, and they brought in Jesse Hogan, who they traded away for peanuts, Rory Lobb, who has done absolutely nothing at the club, and your man, BT, Travis Collier. What are we talking about here?
That's absolutely terrible.
Final game day overreaction. Taylor, I want your thoughts on this one. We did briefly talk about the Giants earlier. If Leon Cameron wasn't the coach of the Giants, they would have already won a flag by now.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, they've had the pieces there. Now they lack in areas, but they've got a Coleman medalist in Jeremy Cameron. Well, they had one alongside Toby Green. Like, with that midfield and with that defensive core, 100% a better coach would have got. I mean, obviously, they wouldn't have been thrashed by 80 points in the grand final, I can tell you that much. I don't want to bring Port into it again, but I think Port probably could have at least made a grand final if we had a better coach too.
Yeah, I agree. The quality players they've had and the quality players they've given away, they've had all the pieces there and they just haven't been able to go. When they lost the grand final, no team was beating Richmond that year. To lose by that much, that's pretty insane. Like, they need a good key forward. That's what they need. They're lacking that right there.
Yeah, and they need Hogan to turn into that this year for them to be a chance of being your pick for winning the flag this year. I think that's without a doubt. Raise the alarm. We're talking teams here that have started 0-2. The stat is, since 2010, 63 teams have started 0-2. Only 8 of them have gone on to make the finals. We've got 6 teams that are 0-2. So based on the stats, only one of them is going to make the finals. So fellas, I want to run through this list of teams that are 0-2, and we need to pick one, just one team that's going to make the finals. Here's the list. Essendon. They've lost to Geelong and Brisbane so far. Do we give them a chance?
They did it last year.
They were one of 3 teams last year that went 0-2 and made the finals. Bucked the trend big time.
Zach Merritt out.
Yeah, that's the killer for me. Put a fork in them.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very tough from 0-2. Western Bulldogs. They've had 2 very difficult games so far. Going down to Melbourne, who look like a juggernaut again this year, and Carlton, who have really come out of nowhere and had a couple of good weeks.
I think they may scrape through. They've still obviously got the pieces. Bontempelli hasn't done much his first 2 games, so if he can get going. They do lack that extra key forward, like we said at the start before the season in our preseason previews. They had the quality, obviously, because they made grand final last season, so obviously they're good enough. I think they can make it.
This game this week is going to be huge for them.
They're playing Sydney as well, I think, Thursday night, which if they're going 0-3, that's a big hole for the Doggies to climb out of. So Doggies, still a chance. What about the Giants, though? They've also lost to Sydney, as well as, of course, their loss to Richmond over the past weekend. Are they done?
Yes. Yes, I think they are.
Wow.
I think BT will differ with me because he won't want to let his own call down. But yeah, look, I think they're done. I think there's another team in this group that will probably get there.
So I think I'm drawing straws here. I think I've got hope more than anything. But I think they can still push it. They've definitely, like I said, they've got the quality players. It's Toby Green, round 6, I think. So once he's back, obviously that's massive. I'm 50-50. If I had to make call because they're my pick, then obviously I'm going to say they will.
The Eagles. Myself and you, BT, are Eagles fans, I think. We know the answer to this one.
Yeah, I didn't rate them pre-season, and then they got all the injuries, and then COVID issues. I think we had them at 12th. I think they're lower than that, to be honest with you.
I think the problem they've had is that they needed to have a good start to the year. Their first 4 games, the Suns, North Melbourne, the Derby this week, and Collingwood. They needed to go 3-1 in that stretch. They'll be lucky if they go 1-3 because that next section they've got, they're playing pretty much finals teams every week. So I don't think there's a way back for the Eagles from here. Let's take it to South Australia. There's 2 teams that are 0-2 here. Let's start with the Crows because I think that one's a pretty easy answer.
They're gone. That's easy. They're bottom 2. Yeah.
And Tazza, your mob, Port Adelaide, 0-2. The loser of the showdown this weekend will be 0-3. Huge game.
There's so much on the line there. Not only bragging rights, but whoever loses that game is probably going to be rooted to the bottom of the table. Port are there now. The upside's better with them. But if the injuries don't come back, well, he is not coming back. Dixon probably isn't coming back. And what changes? I don't know. I think they've got too much talent. He annoyingly will pull it out of his ass and you'll get them into the finals. And you'll get rewarded with another contract extension. And we'll be mired in this world of mediocrity for the next 10 years, probably. He's already been there 10, so we'll probably keep him for another 10.
So you're going with Port Adelaide as your team that's 0-2 to make the finals. Mm-hmm. BT, you're going with the Giants or the Dogs?
No, I'm going Doggies. If I had to choose, I would go Doggies.
I'll go Doggies as well. BT's game of the week. We love throwing you here, BT. This is your time to shine. We want one game that if you're strapped for time over the weekend, sit yourself down on the couch and tune in because this is going to be an absolute cracker.
First game on Sunday, Carlton versus Hawthorn. Both teams 2-0.
Huge.
Yeah, big game at the MCG. Well, obviously either team's going to go 3-0, which we kind of saw Carlton maybe pushing this. I didn't think they were going to be playing this well.
Didn't see either of these teams doing this. They've played very good footy so far this year. Carlton, for mine, their contested ball has been phenomenal. Cripps has been a man possessed. Our man, Matt Kennedy, who we pumped up in our Carlton preview video as our breakout player, he's looked phenomenal at the source as well. A couple of stats contested possession-wise in their first 2 weeks. Against Richmond round 1, they were plus 21 contested possessions and plus 18 clearances. And then they backed it up against the Dogs, who have a very good midfield, plus 38 contested possessions and plus 7 clearances.
38.
They are some phenomenal numbers.
Jeez, I thought it was good, but not that good.
That is unreal. That is unreal stats-wise. So they are just winning the footy at the coalface, getting it forward, and giving those key forwards opportunities, Tazza. They've got a dominant 2 pair up front, don't they?
Yeah, Mackay and Kerno are just turning it on. I mean, Mackay's, we know what he's been able to do last year. It's a common medalist, but Kerno, he's been so unlucky with his injuries, and we're finally getting to see what his true potential is. And for footy's sake, I really hope he stays injury-free because he's an absolute freak when he's on. I don't want to be the pessimist, but I feel like we're just waiting for a hammy to ping or.
Oh, don't say it. Where's the wood? Where's the wood?
Throw the jinx.
Hey, whoa. Settle down there, Tazza. No need for that. BT, Hawks-wise, what do you like about the Hawks?
It's purely the Sam Mitchell factor, how he played, that ball movement, hitting targets. And I've watched some behind-the-scenes videos from some Eagles players and stuff when he was coaching there, and rate Sam Mitchell very highly on his coaching ability. Very good young team. They've got Gunston, obviously, turned it back on Saturday night. Bruce, popped up with his few goals as he does. I think they've got a good mix there.
Can we just talk about Mitch Lewis for a second here?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a breakout game of all breakout games. Tazza, you must have been envious from a Port Adelaide point of view that he wasn't up your end of the field wearing a teal jumper.
Yeah, he was clunking everything. It was pretty tough to watch from a Port Adelaide perspective, not being able to stop him. But yeah, he's going to be huge in a few years. And I think along with that, a lot of that Hawthorn team, they've really gone the youth route. It seems to be paying immediate dividends. They look really good through that midfield. You got guys like Connor McDonald was playing sort of half forward, through the forward, sometimes in the middle, but Josh Ward looked really good. John Newcombe's got such a young midfield brigade to take over from the likes of O'Meara. And I mean, he's not old, but sort of in that next bracket age-wise.
He's probably not going to be there for their next flag, is he?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, unless it's this year. They are 2-0.
Maybe. And can we just take a minute to think about Kane Corns and how he's been absolutely rinsed for what he said about Hawthorn's list? He's made some shit calls, but that's one of the shittest. I mean, everything could go balls up this year for Hawthorn, possibly, but he has got egg on his face in spades. That was a terrible call he made, saying pretty much Mitchell had been stitched up with that list.
Yeah, I don't want to go throwing Kane under the bus too early because we've made some terrible calls on this show as well. We're going to come back and bite us. That's a guarantee.
It's just, yeah, I mean, obviously them handing it to Port Adelaide by 64 points. It couldn't have happened to a worse team in Kane Corns' point of view. Going on, bold predictions. I want to hear some. I would love to hear your prediction, Joshy. What have you got for us?
Well, can I just say first off, I was roasted on this video last week for my call that Buddy would kick 4 in the first half because it wasn't bold enough. We've already spoken about Buddy, about kicking the 1,000 goals. He's going to kick his 4 before half time. How is it not bold? I mean, how many times have people kicked 4 goals?
Yeah, anyone can get one.
But he's he's 50 years old. I mean, the guy's walking out there with a Zimmer frame. First off, can I just say he didn't get it? You know, it was a bold prediction. You know, it's not every day that someone
It wasn't
kick.
a bold prediction. It was a prediction. Well, it's not bold.
Okay,
he just had an
Tazza,
off game.
Fair enough, but Tazza is the man that's going to be judging our bold predictions today. So I'm going to try and come at you with something here, and I hope you respect the boldness of the call. It's not a silly call. I don't think it's a silly call, but it's a bold call. I want to turn our attention to a team that doesn't get much love and doesn't get talked about very much, and that's the Gold Coast Suns. They're coming into round 3. They're 1-1. They've looked all right. They've had a couple of good performances so far. I think they're going to go all right this week. They are coming up against the GWS Giants. The Suns have never won at Giants Stadium. They are 0-5 at Giants Stadium. They're going to go in this week against the Giants and hand it to them. They're going to beat them. They are going to beat the Giants this week. Tell me that's a bold prediction.
If the Giants went 0-2, I'd call it bold. But I'm not that sure. I'm not that sure it's that bold.
Oh, come on. It's the Suns.
You've got the 1-1 Suns against the 0-2 Giants.
The Suns are
I'm not sure it's all that bold.
They've never won. They've never won at Giants Stadium. That's a bold prediction. Would you predict that?
I think they're a good smoky.
It's not bold enough.
Enough, yeah. I like it.
All right, well, what have you got, BT? Go and give us something.
I'm sticking with Brisbane. Coming up against North Melbourne.
Smoking Joe. Not Smoking
Joe.
Oh,
Smoking Joe and Charlie Cameron combined for 14 goals.
14? You're kidding me.
14 between them.
Who's going to kick more?
Oh, my God, yeah.
Danaher's kicking 10. Charlie Cameron's kicking 4. They're winning by 100 plus points against North Melbourne. Just wait.
Oh.
Okay, that's bold. That's bold.
That's very bold. Yeah. You make mine look terrible because I've got a goals one and It doesn't even stack up compared to that, but I still think it's bold. I've got Jamara Ugle-Hagan in the likely absence of Aaron Norton. He's never kicked more than 3 goals. I think he's kicking 5 against the Swans prime time Thursday night.
I don't think he's going to do it, but at least give us 6. You know what I mean? Like double it. You said he's never kicked 3. Double it. He's going to kick
I'm with
6.
it.
Right?
Like five's just an odd number, like a weird number with goals. You got to go
5's
6.
halfway to 10. That's where I got it.
It's a handful. It's a handful.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
so let's go slightly off track here, right? What defines a bag of goals? What's a bag?
6.
Is it 6? Yeah. Okay. I'll say he's going to kick 6.
Why is 6
Criteria?
a bag out of
I don't
interest? I don't know.
It's just always been that. They've always 6 goals has always been celebrated.
That team's been hit for 6.
He's kicked half a dozen.
It's half a dozen. Yeah.
He's kicked a bag of buns. A bag of burger buns. There you go.
Bag of buns. I've never heard that before.
He's going to kick a bag. That's what you're going with.
Yeah,
6 goals.
We'll up at 6. Yeah, I'm confident. I think if he takes that number 1, it's the better defender, but it's near on his time to shine. So
there you go. I like it. Bold predictions, done and dusted. We'll come back in a week's time. We'll look at how silly we are. If you have any bold predictions as well, let us know in the comments. The bolder, the better. And we'll get Tazza to judge them as well. If he doesn't think it's bold enough, we will chirp you in the comments and we'll tell you, lift your game. But that being said, fellas, good performance from you guys this weekend. Tazza, good to have you back on the chat, mate. We missed you last week.
I missed being here last week. I mean, I was out enjoying myself a little bit. It was my birthday, but
yes, happy birthday,
I'm
Tazza.
very happy. Thanks, mate. I'm very happy to be back.
36, 37? How old are we?
Hey, you fight down over there. I'm the ripe old 28, mate. Just I'm quickly approaching the 3-0.
The dirty 30s. BT, nice work from you as well. As bold as ever. We love it. Steve, not on the line with us this week, but we're hoping to have him back next week and have the full set ready to go. And thank you for watching as well. Appreciate you tuning in, checking us out. Appreciate your feedback and your comments. Make sure you subscribe so you're keeping up to date with all the latest content from us here at Statchat Sports. Until the next video, we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.